All right, this is Must Know People. I'm John Ryan with you. And, of course, today's guest is probably the first guest I've had on the podcast that actually grew up in Carroll.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked to Matt and Brad, and neither one of them grew up in Carroll.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested on your take on that here coming up. But it's Jim Jensen, the owner of Trophies Plus, who no longer lives in Carroll, by the way. You live up in Lake View, right around the corner from me, so full disclosure there.
We're neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to get together more often.
I know. I feel like we've wasted some opportunities here.
It's totally some opportunities. We are here actually at a place I think we're both pretty familiar with. The home of the hoops, right? Russell, yeah, is serving up some adult beverages here while we do this broadcast, or this podcast. But, I bet I know one thing about this place that you don't know.
What's that?
Today is the 37th anniversary of Reds.
It's today. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Wow.
When's the party? He doesn't know yet.
As soon as we're done here.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, Jim, let's talk again. Now we're just going to kind of chat about things that are going on in life and your business and things, because you own this crazy business, Trophies Plus, here in downtown Breda.
Right in downtown Main Street, Breda, Iowa.
You cannot miss it. It is the biggest thing in Breda right now. But let's kind of start back. You grew up in Carroll. Tell me what it was like kind of growing up in Carroll. I've been here since '94. But I couldn't tell you what it was like earlier before that.
You know, Carroll's a really fun town to grow up in. It really had that small town laid back feel, but it had everything that you needed. So it was kind of a bigger town, but you didn't really feel like you were in a city by any means. You know, you knew everybody. The adults and the kids kind of blended together, you know, just from whether it be, I have fond memories of our police force back in the day. You know, I mean, those guys were just so friendly, and you could really be yourself in that town. I mean, there were a lot of opportunities, and, you know, I just had some phenomenal friends and a lot of good experiences there and a lot of good memories of that town.
That's weird, see, because, like, I remember growing up, and, like, usually high school kids, like, can't wait to get out of here. You were not that way, apparently, it sounds like.
Well, you know, life dictates different things at times, and the opportunities weren't there for me to go far. And so after I got out of high school, I was a Carroll boy and going to be, at the time, I thought I'm stuck here. But I really relished what happened and how things developed in life. And I have no regrets whatsoever. We wouldn't be sitting here today if something changed, you know, just a little bit down the line.
That is true. You know, a lot of kids are like, oh, I can't wait to go to college, go explore the world, things like that. But, you know, sometimes it works out the way it should.
I went to Visha twice, so I count that as my Iowa State education.
That's probably a good education going on there.
Learned a lot.
I bet you did. And that's probably a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we can get into that one later.
So what's your fondest memory? Were you a good student, by the way, in high school?
I was good as in I was there every day. I really liked a lot of the extracurricular things. You know, I was involved in music and speech and drama, played sports and things like that. So I think that I think I was probably. No one has any negative memories of me. I think that's probably the safest way to say it.
Yeah, they say 90% of life is just showing up.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I sold me, and so everyone kind of bought into that. So that sometimes the grades just came as needed.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to talk to you too, I'll tell you this, is that I knew you grew up in Carroll, first of all, but that great business you have of Trophies Plus, but you just seem like a happy guy. I've never seen you in a bad mood. It's crazy. I know you're a Cubs fan, too, so that should bring on plenty of bad moods, but you're smiling throughout it all.
I just think that life is good. I mean, you got to take everything and do with it what you can. And so, I know there's been some, everybody's got things they've gone through in their lives, and you can wallow in self-pity, or you can cry about it, or you can just move on and figure out the best ways to move forward on things. So
that's exactly the way I've known you the whole time. It's crazy that I just think one of the happiest people I know is probably you.
Well, that's nice. That's really nice to hear.
Thanks,
John. I appreciate that.
We do have one person in common in our background. Okay. Drew Hodges.
Drew Hodges, one of my best friends of all time.
He had some stories about you when he worked at the radio station. Drew, phenomenal guy. Unfortunately, had probably the worst luck I've ever seen in my entire life. But he was also a guy who smiled through everything.
Yeah, he's one. You know, we talk about him a lot. There's still a group of friends that we chat about, you know, from the high school days and even after high school. He was, I credit a lot of who I am to him just because of what a wonderful guy he was. And you know, some of the Carroll memories that I have, I know one time, just if you've got time for a side story.
Oh,
here.
we got time. We got all the time in the world.
He was just an ornery son of a gun. Like, I mean, anything that came to his mind, he was open to do, and no one ever got mad at him for it. It's just like everything just kind of rolled with it. I remember one time. You remember? You probably don't, but near where the Hardee's was in Carroll, which is you know where that was. Next door was a Quick Trip Come and Go. I think it's the Casey's now.
Circle. It was the Circle C or something.
Yeah, that's
like
right,
that.
something like that. We went in one night at probably 8 o'clock or whatever, and there were 2 highway patrolmen in there and 3 of our city policemen in there.
So a lot of the finest.
A lot of the finest in there. Yeah, exactly. An important meeting. And he thought we should rob the place, just jokingly. Knew the gentleman behind knew the guy working. Knew all the cops. He had done some training. You know, he tried at one time to go to the Army for MP. So he had shadowed a lot of the policemen. They all knew him. Everybody knew what was going on. And he, of course, went in and caused a scene. And we were sternly lectured, very sternly lectured for quite a while by the highway patrolman, who did not have the same sense of humor as the Carroll Police Force did. And so when we left, we stole the hubcaps off of the highway patrol cars and put them in the back seat of the city police car.
You did?
Yeah.
How long were they in this convenience store?
Long enough for us to be sternly lectured and steal.
It did not result in any charges?
No charges, but more lecturing, no official charges, but it would have been better for me to have been probably hauled to jail than to go home and explain that one to my parents.
No kidding. After literally being sternly talked to,
he showed them.
It's a good idea then to steal hubcaps.
Exactly, yeah. And put him in the back seat of the police car. So...
Don't you want to know the look on the cop's face when he got in the car?
When they got in the car, I didn't want to see the look in their face when they got to our house later that evening. But that was.
Oh, they came back.
Oh yeah, they came back.
Oh.
Yeah, we heard about this later.
Yeah. How many months did you spend inside? After that?
Inside my bedroom?
Yeah.
Quite a while.
Drew told me his story one time. He said that you guys were driving in your car, and you guys kind of hit the brakes hard, pulling up to a stop sign, and all 4 hubcaps came off of the car?
Yeah, just the hubcaps thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went rolling forward. Your car stopped, but the hubcaps
everything kept moving.
Kept going.
It was just just a comedy of errors. But again, he was one, that attitude that I have, I guess, a little bit comes from him, because nothing could get the guy down. And that. I mean, with what he went through in his life with his cancer and some of his other diseases that he dealt with even before that, the guy was never wanted anyone to feel sorry for him. And that's a great attitude.
Yeah, literally until the day till the day he died, he was just a smile on his face and just this unbelievable guy. I don't think I've ever met anybody like Drew.
No, there's never going to be anybody like him. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He also, a side story, introduced me to my wife.
Is that right?
Yeah, that might be the beginning of the end for him and I.
I'm biting back the question. Good or bad? No. Of course, darless, we're not.
Through community theater things I know he was in some plays with her with the Carroll Community Theater, and I was still working nights at that time, and so I wasn't really involved in any of that. And he said, "You just got to meet this gal." And so, pretty near 30 years later, I can't complain about that.
You never committed any more felonies after that?
Well, no registered felonies anyway. Yeah.
None that never convicted.
None that I've been convicted of. That's right.
Music has always been huge for you. Yeah. I know you are. But another thing I know about you sing a heck of a version of Cover of the Rolling Stones. Because I've seen that video, and I've been there when you've been doing that.
There's a story there.
Is it?
Yeah, I joke that is this a PG broadcast? Are we
well, we're trying to keep it a little PG. I mean, you can get a little. I mean, we are having beverages.
I always joke that my mom may or may not have slept with Dr. Hook at the 1971 Kansas State Fair. So
I bet she enjoys that story.
She told it to me.
So you're being okay.
Well, again,
I don't know if we want to pursue that.
Yeah, that's another podcast for another day.
But music, what got you in? Was that your big passion growing up?
Yeah, a little bit. When I was in high school, I wanted to be in the band, of course, but I didn't really want to play anything, brass or anything, and so I learned how to play the bass at the time, and so played the upright bass, the stand-up in orchestra and things, and then. You become a drummer while you're there a little bit too, and so drumming and bass, and then even after high school, I had some really close friends that actually some guys that are still playing, and so we played in garage bands, and nothing very good for years after that, and Of course, I worked for the On-Cue music store in Carroll for a long time, and that was, part music. And then
We have
just
another
continued.
thing in common. I worked at an On-Cue
You- where at?
music store, Pierce, South Dakota.
In Pierce, South Dakota.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Nice. Well,
Yeah.
Andy Drew Hodges also worked at the On-Cue stores.
Wow, we've got this weird connection going on. So you committed felonies. You were a drummer. That all makes sense.
Well, yeah, drummers. Yeah, not really a drummer. Just that was one of those things you did if you couldn't play any other instruments.
Yeah, there were pseudo drummers all over the place, but anybody can play taking care of business. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's easy. Easy.
All right. So after high school, what happened? Where'd you go?
Not very far. After high school, I went to work for Farmland Foods. Worked the night shift there for 7 or 8 years. After that, I spent some time with the On-Cue with the Music Land Group. Worked there for a while. Worked for Napa Auto Parts in Carroll for a long time as a salesman there. And then I worked for Hogslot in Carroll also as a salesman for there. And then the opportunity arose for us to buy Trophies Plus. And so we took that opportunity, and that's been phenomenal. I
So
can't-
you did not work at Trophies Plus before you bought it. Okay, that's different. I thought you did, but let's go back to the other
'Kay.
jobs.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one? What did they teach you? I mean, kind of
Most of 'em-
Everybody gets a lesson
Yeah.
every job they take. They like something, they don't like something. What's up with that?
Most of them taught me that I should have gone to college. That's probably the biggest thing. No, all of them. I think every one of them had something positive. The farmland was, just out of high school. You need to learn how to make a living if you're not going to school, and it was a hard physical job, which made me realize that I needed to really focus on sales better than doing that, because that would be those guys. That's a long life. I mean, that's a lot of hard work.
That
and,
is.
and physical. So. But again, taught me a lot of life experiences. I still have a lot of good friends that work there that are kind of career, those type of guys. We've stayed in touch after that.
Yeah, that was time you could make a career, out of that, and a lot of people did.
Absolutely, a lot of people did, and they had a pretty good life. I mean, I think that financially it paid well. I mean, I think it was a good job for a lot of people in Carroll. There was a lot of employees in that place. The Music Land Group, when they came to me, again through Drew, he came to me and said, "I think we've got a project that you might be interested in." That was really the first opportunity for me to get into sales and to actually be more of a public salesperson and figure, and eventually running that store in Carroll I think I ran that store for 5 years. That was like the first chance to see what it was to be a business person. And I really enjoyed that. You kind of ran your own business because you were there. You had to answer to higher ups and whatnot. But
Wasn't that right on Carroll and 5th Street right there? There's that big store on the corner.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yep,
I think I do remember it being
Flower
a
Garden, I
music
think
store. It
is
became
there.
the Flower Garden,
yeah, exactly. So
Now it's a driver's license station.
that's part of it. Yeah, I think it's still the flower store too.
Is it?
Isn't
Okay,
there?
I
I think there is right there.
I'm not in the flower thing.
I
So.
mean, neither am I. No.
All right.
So that was an opportunity really to see. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to be able to create your own things and do things, and from just learning how to make displays and to talk to people and to understand the basics of finances and things like that in a business was good. So that went to Napa after that, same situation, more selling, more a different. Again, you see the trend of music to auto parts to hog equipment. Yeah, I followed right into the trophy world.
All had that one underlying thing of sales.
Exactly.
How critical do you think that skill is for anybody growing up right now? Because a lot of people say, well, young kids are too shy, they're always on their phone or things like that. You had to go out and were you outgoing, or did you have to learn to be outgoing?
Oh no, I was always outgoing. That never bothered me.
You never had that problem.
Yeah, no, that never had that problem. But I guess I've always believed that I sell me. That's the number one thing that I sell. And so if I have your trust and I believe in the product that I'm selling or the service that we're selling, that eventually I'll win your trust over, and then you'll just buy me, and then whatever I'll just figure out the customer base from there.
So how do you jump into okay, and we're going to go buy a trophy business?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, you had to be a little nerve-wracked, didn't you? I mean, you're jumping into a business that you didn't even know. And Doyle England was the previous owner. He had it down in Templeton.
He did.
Talk about why you wanted to buy that.
I tell you, so my son Austin was in, he was at Drake, and he came home one summer, and Drake just wasn't, the big city life wasn't 100% for him. And so Doyle and I had been friends for a lot of years. We, from softball back in the day, that we places at Lake View and the Dixieland Trailer Park. We'd known each other for a long, long time. And I said, we had talked. His daughters had gone off to be teachers and nurses and things, and none of them were moving back to Templeton to buy a trophy shop or run the trophy shop for him. So he said, someday I should buy into him, or maybe partner with him or come to work for him. We talked about it a little bit over one Christmas, and I said to Austin, well, why don't you come home this summer and we'll just go down there and we'll work in the trophy shop for the summer and see if you like it, if it's something that you'd be interested in. And so he came home for the summer, and we went to work. We went down to Trophies Plus, and he loved it. I mean, it was just something that he was into it from day one. He just really enjoyed it. He liked the small town. He liked being home. He liked the small town feel of it, not a big city thing. My wife's brother, Doug, he called me and said, if you're interested in this, my nephew Matt, his son, he also might be interested in this as a job. He was working also in the pig industry, and Doug kind of wanted him to see if that was a chance to get out of that. So Doug and Matt both came down, and they spent a month or so with me down there, and neither one of them ever left after that. They were with us the whole time.
So you actually went to work at Trophies Plus?
Yep, I went to work at Trophies Plus. Yep, we left everything and went to work there. So and yeah, we after
Talk about your leap of faith.
You should have Darlis on this podcast.
You're kind of doing it for your son, but I mean, there's something in you that had to want to do this too.
It was such a cool thing that we could do this together, and so now he's there. My nephew Matt's there. Doug is retired, but Darlis has done the books for years. She came on board with us. Now Austin's.
She didn't have a choice.
Yeah, really. At that point, she wanted to make sure there was still money, that we could pay for the thing. But Austin's wife now is there and she's taken over for Darlis a little bit on things. So I mean, it's been a legit family business, which has been a lot of fun.
That's been great. What has it been like? How long did it take you to really think you knew the business? Because Doyle had a great business, I assume.
Oh yeah, Doyle had a phenomenal business. It was doing great.
Why was he wanting to sell? Just that it was time for him to move on to
age.
something different?
You got to look at your exit plans as soon as you can. I think in business, working for your company and working at your company are two different things. And Doyle's worked at his company. He was the salesman. He was the orderer. He was the invoice guy. He was pretty much everything out of the running it out of the trunk of your car type thing.
Yeah, and he refereed games at night. He was a referee for years. I remember that when I did sports.
Yeah, all over the place on things. And so yeah, he just didn't know how to get out of it eventually, and so now he's out. We gave him an opportunity to look at a retirement, and he stayed with us 10, 11 years after we bought the company, just as our national sales manager, and took care of things like that. And now I'm kind of doing the same thing. You look at it, all right, how do I get out of here? And so we've trained a pretty good group of young core guys that we have in there now, and my friend Paul Milligan says he's relevant but not required at the bank, and I kind of have that now. I kind of feel that way, like I can be there, and they really like it when I'm there, but also if I'm not there, they can run things. So.
Sometimes it's optional whether you show up or not.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So what was it a nationwide business when you took it over?
Nationwide in the sense that there were accounts all over the country. Like we did the New York State Championship things.
And so that was already established.
That was established at the time, and Doyle was big into the chess industry, which we still are over here. I mean, I bet we've shipped 30 pallets of chess trophies out here in the last month. This is kind of their wheelhouse time, for all the national chess championship things.
Oh, it is chess season.
It is chess season.
Wow.
That's right.
Once the sun comes out, the chess players like to get back inside.
It's a big deal. That's right. Exactly. But yeah, we've just kind of taken it and grown it from there, and we've modified some things. We quit selling to New York. We quit building trophies for experience a long time ago, is one of the things I like to say. And boy, New York just doesn't like to pay their bills very well. And so
really,
we kind of moved on from them, and we've added. So now we do all the Iowa state championship things for the boys and the girls. We do Minnesota and South Dakota also all of their state championship things. So. Yeah, like right now it's also track season time, which is a big deal for us. So,
yeah, you guys got a map up there. I know I've been in your shop before, and there's like pins to wherever you sold trophies at. How many salespeople you got going on out there just to keep in contact with people?
So we've got 3 salesmen, and another one starting the end of this month. And most of them are retired coaches, retired athletic directors, things like that. And then myself, I guess when Doyle retired, I kind of took over like the state championship things and like the Iowa games and things like that. Some of those accounts I took over just because they were comfortable with me.
Yeah, getting out there doing the sales thing.
Yeah, just go out and talk to people. That's all you. It's just easy.
And as outgoing as you are, travel, not an issue.
The worst thing
You're
is...
just looking for a new experience.
Yeah, let's just get
somewhere.
out of town for a while. Yeah, the worst thing is I think my wife knows every boutique in the state because she likes to ride along with me when we go on those. So
she knows the book. She knows how much you can spend.
She's got it figured out. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So how busy are you guys right now? Because you always seem to be just flooded with business.
Well, there's always something going on, and one of the things that we've really tried to focus on the last couple of years is we do a lot of contract work. So let's just use the Iowa Girls Athletic Union for an example. And that is one of the most wonderful partnerships I've ever been involved in. I love working with the girls' union. They're so much fun. But
I've heard that about them. They're so much more together than even the boys' athletic association.
Yeah, they're just on top of things.
Yeah.
And their whole goal is to make the experience for the high school girl athletes. I mean, they go, the pomp and circumstances and the things that they do are just phenomenal. They're such a fun organization. But I know when, there's going to be a state track meet this year, right? They're going to run state softball. They're going to have the state cross country. So we really try and work ahead with all those long-term contracts. So we can keep everybody busy all the time without having a lot of peaks, I mean,
Sure.
And we'll get those wrestling season, of course, a lot of youth wrestling, a lot of those events. You might have a different parent involved in the youth wrestling thing every year. So every year it's a little bit of a rush with those guys because they didn't do it every year. And so, yeah, we get a lot of last-minute phone calls, but not everything is a last-minute deal because we know, again, that they're going to run the state basketball championships this year.
Well, think about all those different little town tournaments.
There are
just the Court
tons
Classic
of
in
them.
Carroll.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's just duplicated thousands and thousands of times
all over the country. Yeah, absolutely. And so, we try and get involved in as many of those as we can.
Yeah, and when did you decide to make the move to Breda, and why Breda? Because you live in Lake View.
I live in Lake View.
How long you lived in Lake View?
We've been there 11 years now, full time.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've had places up there for years. In the Dixieland Park, we were up there quite a bit too before that. But permanently, we've been there 11 years. Part of it, the majority of our employees were from Carroll or Lake City, and then my nephew and brother-in-law were from Lake City, and then us from Lake View. And so we had a couple from Breda, employees that were from Breda here. When we were outgrowing where we were at, were you ever in our shop down there? It was the old lumber yard down there, and it was a lot of little rooms and dark and not a lot of windows, and we kind of
imagine the worst setup possible.
The worst setup possible, zero flow, and it was fine when we had 6 or 7 employees, but when you get up to 20 people, it just is impossible. I mean, you just can't. There's just not enough room, and so we were really looking for somewhere to build new. Templeton would have been fine. I mean, we'd have been happy in Templeton. The opportunities didn't come there like we really were looking at, and so we just kind of put it out there. Hey, we're looking for something new. We want to build a new building, and we want to find a new town. And Mike Schwabe from here in town he was the mayor at the time. He's one of the owners at Toynes here in town. Mm-hmm. He was not going to sleep unless we could figure out a way to get us into Breda.
Yeah,
that was his goal. And we went everywhere. We were in Wall Lake, we were in Auburn, we were in Lake View. We were just looking for somewhere with a big plot of ground that we could do, maybe get some help with and do. And so, sitting in this fine establishment,
yes.
Mike and I,
broadcasting from Reds,
live. Well, not live, podcasting. But we went out and toured a couple of places out east. We toured a couple of places in town, some different spots, and we were sitting at the bar up by the door, and he's looking out the door. And remember all those buildings that were across the street? They're all falling apart. There was nothing in any of them. I mean, it was.
I was going to say, at what point did you say, let's just rip all that side of the main street down and just build our building?
Exactly what Mike said. He goes, how about we just tear all that old stuff out of here and we just build something new here? And I thought, well, what better place to be than Main Street,
Yeah.
And so
I think I was here at your groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Covering that for news.
It's been, what was that, 2016, 2017 now, I think that was. And so, that was, that was like the day the light bulb came on, and boy, it moved fast once we got to that point. And so this town, Breda, they did a phenomenal job in getting us here, wanting us here, and keeping us here. And we've never regretted this move at all.
What did it do for your business?
It gave us the opportunity. So I like to say, we do the 3 different state championships. Well, you know what happens at the same time in all 3 states? Every sports state championship. And so we just didn't have the room where we were at to be able to grow. And so this gave us that opportunity that, instead of 1 state or a part of a state, now we can do 3-4 states at a time just because we've got the room to do them.
Yeah, and the staff to do them and all things like that. Yeah. So it's a crazy business. It is making trophies.
Yeah, and the other big thing about coming up here, again, we were down in Templeton. We had all these little rooms and everyone was kind of separated, and we had all these kind of little cliques going on. And now our culture over there is phenomenal. I mean, it's a fun place to work. Everybody's having a good time, kind of like a junior high locker room in there sometimes. I lock myself in my office once in a while just because it just gets
the
out
junior high humor gets a little carried away.
Out of hand. Yeah, exactly. You have to sign a waiver to come work for us.
It sounds like the radio station.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I've been
in there. I've been in there. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So, like I said, the business is going great, but you a couple years ago decided you were going to do a little more continuing education, or had the opportunity to. And I know we discussed that before, but tell everybody else what you were doing.
Well, Goldman Sachs has this 10,000 small business program that they've been doing for a number of years, and they had an opportunity in Iowa to do it. And so we kind of, I sat down with the crew and said, hey, this is something I think that would benefit me personally as well as benefit the team and the company. And so we talked about it because it was quite a bit of a time commitment. I think it was 12 weeks where you spent a week in Des Moines and then you spent a week at home, kind of with Zoom meetings and things, and then you're back in Des Moines for a whole week. And it was really just like a mini MBA program on your business. I mean, there was no pretend or this business does this, so what should it do? It was this is what I'm doing, and what should I do? And they had just the course was amazing. I mean, the teachers were phenomenal, and yeah, we learned an awful lot on it. And I said I'm looking forward. Now I think they're on their maybe 11th or 12th cohort, they call them, which is the class. I think they're on their 11th or 12th one right now. And I know a number of other Carroll people have been through it, and we've people do business with people, and so you're sitting in this room and you're talking to all these different businesses, and you think that you're the trophy guy, and so no one knows what you're talking about because nobody knows what you're dealing with. Everybody goes through the same thing. They're all fighting the same issues, and so it was just a really. I've never been one to go to these business entrepreneur meetings or business meetings and sit around and talk about business with other guys like that before, unless they were in my industry. If you're in sales and you own a company, you're selling something, and so they all fight the same thing. So that was a huge deal. That was a really good thing for us.
So you finished all that, and has it paid dividends?
It has tremendously. Again, the one thing about work is you put off the things that you're not good at, and you just like kind of keep shoving them off to the side, and you'll get to them someday later, and you just keep hammering on the things.
I know nothing of what you're talking about.
I figured as much. Well, you're a professional.
Professional what? We don't know yet.
True, but yeah, that's the one thing about that was it taught you the things that you didn't know. And so, I'm the books and some of that stuff. I mean, that's not my forte. Again, I'm a sales guy. So, man, I aced those days at that course. I was really good on those days. But when we had to sit down and start going through your balance sheets and things like that, it wasn't my strong suit. And just, again, some of it was just education. I'd never had that training before.
You just said, can I bring my wife in?
Yeah.
This is what she does.
No, I didn't. I don't know if I really wanted her to know everything. So it's probably better that I figured it out so I could hide it a little bit better. But no. Yeah, that was the biggest thing, I think, was it really made you focus on the things, your weaknesses, and make yourself better on them. And then they give you a support system that could help, really give you some of that fine training on things that made you better on those type of things.
One thing I think is really cool is that you not only established your business in Breda, I'm sure they got breaks for you as well. I mean, incentives and things like that to build here, but you really got immersed in Breda. You got involved with the 4th of July stuff, and you've been bringing in bands and really a huge community support guy, even in Lake View and some of the areas. How important is that to you?
Oh, how important is it? I don't understand your question. How important is it to support your community?
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I mean, to be that involved, because some people will build a business there and stay inside their walls.
Yeah. I don't. Well, again, I think that's just that outgoing personality thing that I have that says I want to help and do whatever I can do. And the more positive things we can do, then people remember you too when you need something. And so, I mean, it's helped our business to be involved in these things. I think it's helped the community. It's helped, especially in Lake View. I mean, that's. I'm involved in the Stone Pier Summer Concert Series up there. That's kind of where the bands from here kind of came into play. Is I just have connections with a lot of the music side of things. And I just think
that's that on-cue training coming back.
Yeah, maybe
man.
It could be. Yeah, part of that. Yeah, back in the day when on-cue was there, I was bringing live bands in. CD releases from bands out of Des Moines or things, and we'd move everything off to the side and set up a band in there, and then they'd sell their CDs and we'd sell stuff. And they made me quit that because we were just getting stolen blind. 9 o'clock at night, you got a rock band in your CD store, and people were going home with everything. But I've always just been a fan of, it's you kind of cheat. Well, gosh, I really want to see this band. Well, let's see if I can get somebody else to donate money, and we'll have it in my backyard rather than having to go to Des Moines.
Yeah. So tell me why. Of course, you had so much spare time on your hands, you decided to run for city council in Lakeview, right?
I don't know if I decided or if a bunch of people came to me and said that we think you'd be good for it.
And you just said okay.
My wife said okay. She thought that'd be a great idea. And so, it was, we've got some connection.
I mean, like I said, I live in Lakeview, and all of a sudden I'm seeing. The first time I heard that you were running was yard signs. I'm like, Jim Jensen is running for city council here?
I make yard signs.
Yeah.
That made it really easy.
I didn't even think about that. I did not even think
You wonder
about
why I
that.
had the most yard signs? Because I can make them. We had a group of people come over to the house one night and just say, with the direction of things in town, and there were some things going on in town with like the new community center that Lakeview's doing and things, and knowing that I'm involved in the Stone Pier and involved with other things that anytime give us a call, we're always willing to help. They just thought that maybe a positive thing for the community if I'd get involved, kind of that progressive, forward-thinking thing, and hell, I was happy to do it. I thought that could be fun, and it has been fun so far. I mean, I've only got a couple of months in so far, but
what have you learned so far about politics 3 months in?
Yeah, I stink at politics.
Do you?
I'm not good at politics. Again, I'm kind of an open book, as you've known that. I mean, I'll tell you anything, and I'll tell you the way I see it. But also I listen, and so I can be swayed if needed to be. But I don't do well with the tit for tat type of things, and some politics are petty sometimes and personal. And I just try and stay away from personal on anything because it's just a business. That's how I looked at it. It's another business. So
politics are extremely petty, even on the local level. It can get that way.
Absolutely, and it's crazy because again, like I said, Lakeview's a town, but Lakeview is a business, and so the business has to be ran and has to sustain itself. So how can we do that? To keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Crazy about the last. I don't know. You said you've lived in Lakeview for about 11 years.
Yeah.
How far do you think that town's come? I mean, they've done a lot in the last 10 years to really become a little more of a lake/resort town.
They have figured out that lake is worth some money. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a marketing.
And they need to take care of it.
Yeah, they're taking care of it, and they're you live there, so there's always something going on, and they've really figured out how to market that lake and the fun of the lake and all the things around the lake. I mean. It's not just a lake town anymore where it's a 3 months on the weekends type thing. I mean, there's something going on there all year.
And that they have utilized that bike trail better than just about anybody this side of the High Trestle.
I agree completely. Yeah, that it is amazing, just to drive down Main Street on a Saturday or Sunday and just look at the license plates from where people are at and where they're from.
We're going to order up another round here.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm slow.
See, he's been talking. He hasn't had a chance to. So
I'll catch up.
I've been doing a lot of listening, so I haven't been doing that much. So,
but yeah, that's one of my favorite things, just to drive through Main Street and just look at how many different counties of cars are there, and you talk to them in the restaurants or in the grocery store, or the campground, or they come up and see us at at the Stone Pier concert series. It's amazing how big that has gotten. Yeah. How just where people come from, and I'm like, you have a lake there. Why? What are you driving all the way here for? And I'm like, oh, it's just because it's just a lake. I mean, look at the other opportunities that bring. That the town brings forward to, which is it's a lot of fun.
So I'm gonna switch gears here and go a little more personal on you.
Okay.
What do you consider yourself, a morning person, afternoon, or night person?
I am terrible in the mornings, and I don't care what time of the morning it is. For like the first hour and a half, do not talk to me. Just leave me alone. I'm not a coffee guy.
You're the happiest guy we know.
Well, you should come talk to me in the morning because that's my least. No, I'm a night guy all the way around. That might have something to do with the music industry. Just being a part of being at concerts and playing or working some nights. I'm not a morning person at all.
Give us your schedule. What time do you wake up? What do you do?
When do you get up about quarter? I probably get up about 5:45 and watch again.
See, a lot of people would consider that a morning person.
Well, yeah, but I do that because I have to be functional at 8.
Oh.
And if I get up at 7, then everyone would hate me at work when I got there. I really need that time to just figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. So get up in the morning, watch the news a little while, take the dog outside, and kind of get myself to the shop and spend the day at the shop. And I don't know. I live on the lake, so back when we lived in Carroll, you'd go home at night and wonder what it was like to be at the lake. You could get things done. Sometimes I get distracted because we've got that lake there, and nights can just be vacation all the time.
You mentioned sales. That was a big part of what you do, and sometimes salespeople get really wrapped up on, oh, I got to keep thinking about this, or they get distracted. That doesn't sound like you.
No, I think
It's like quitting time.
No, gosh, no. I've actually got a truckload of stuff that we're going to sit on the deck tonight and work on because we just bring it home. And yeah. No, there is no real quitting time, I guess. When you own it, you don't really have a quitting time because you're thinking about it all the time. And people call you all the time and there's something going on. But, yeah, the separation is good. But, I think, I don't know, I spend a lot of evenings on the phone with, somebody who works during the day or whatnot, and they've got an event going on. So, yeah, I think we understand when it's time to play, but also we know that you're always kind of at work.
What's your guilty pleasure if you're taking like a night off? What are you gonna do?
We're gonna find live music somewhere, whether it be there's a lot of amazing. That's one thing that's really changed since COVID is live music's back, and I mean, even before COVID, it kind of lost its appeal, and everybody wanted to DJ, and there just wasn't a lot of venues that were open to bringing in even just a guitar player for a couple hours. And man, now there's all kinds of stuff all over the place. I know we like to sneak up to Twin Lakes during the summer. They've got a nice little bar restaurant there that runs live music every Thursday night. We kind of call it our music league, and we sneak up there a lot. Lake View has some spots, and another new place in Lake View coming here soon. They're going to run live music 52 weeks a year, he said.
Really?
So I'll probably help him line up.
So we get some inside information here from the city council.
Bit. Yeah, from a friend of the guy who owns the place. But yeah. But that's our play. Yeah, we'll go down to Des Moines overnight, and the new Valor Ballroom's phenomenal. So yeah, if we've got a night where I get to choose, we're gonna find live music somewhere.
Your Facebook, and I searched through your social media today, just your Facebook page. Dude, I got to tell you, you look like you're on vacation most of the time. Have you scrolled through your photos?
No, well, that's the only time that I probably go on Facebook.
I know. I messaged you, and it took a day.
Yeah, it took a day and a half. Yeah. Well, so that and Darla yells at me about this all the time. But so I have the Trophies Plus Facebook page is connected to my page, my personal page. The Stone Pier Summer Concert Series page is through mine. Sometimes I go on and I'll have 200 messages, and there's not one of them for me. And so, it's something, whether it be work related or a band that wants to play at the pier or something like that. And so I just sometimes I'm like, well, I haven't been on there for a couple of days. I probably should check it.
Yeah.
So.
You combine your concerts and vacations too a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of times. Absolutely.
So who's the ultimate concert that people have to go see or have seen in the past?
We actually had this conversation with some friends here recently because we're talking about all these the super groups that are still around, the one-offs that you got to say you saw. We actually, a couple years ago, Darlis took me to Minneapolis, and we saw the Eagles, and Jimmy Buffett opened for the Eagles.
Oh, Target Field,
yeah. That was probably one of my favorite shows ever, just because of how
that wouldn't suck.
That covered everything there. Yeah, I mean that was like 4 hours where you never quit singing. That was
Who
fun.
Opened?
A young gal that's on.
No, I mean Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett opened. Yeah,
he was
the
opener.
Eagles. Yeah.
Man, that's a bill when you get Jimmy Buffett as the opener.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
How many times have you seen Jimmy in concert?
20 maybe.
Yeah.
Probably 20 times. Yeah, we did a lot of years where we went out to Alpine Valley up there and saw him at the at that venue, and a number of different places other than that. But yeah, that was a. When he died, it was like losing a friend. Like you really felt like you knew the guy. Like that was a hurt.
Was it a shock to you when he died? Because it was to me. I was like, "Whoa, Jimmy Buffett just died."
Yeah, it was like a holy crap moment. Like what? And we had seen him earlier last year. We saw him in March, and I think that was one of his last 5 or 6 shows. But he was pretty. You never really heard much about Jimmy Buffett. You always heard about the Margaritaville, that type of thing.
He was persona, not
exactly.
the person.
Yeah, exactly what he was, and so. He was sick, and I think we had even read or heard somewhere that he was sick, but not to the point of he was going to die on us.
Yeah.
Like that was a big shock.
So Jimmy Buffett's on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Who else?
Eagles. Joe Walsh of the Eagles.
My wife's a huge Joe Walsh fan of the Eagles.
I love Joe Walsh of the Eagles. Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of my favorites. I saw him at the Iowa Jam back in '88 or '89 when Des Moines used to run that. That was probably one of my favorites. And then. Today's music, there's a lot of really good music out today, but we're big fans of Drake White. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Drake White.
Not a clue.
Google him, man. He is fantastic.
What kind of music?
Kind of that outlaw country feel, but he's just got a really powerful voice, and he's got a great backstory. Had a stroke on stage a couple of years ago, and he's coming back from that. So, yeah, he's got some. I'll send you some songs. He's phenomenal.
What would you consider yourself a country music fan or kind of that?
I like the new country stuff. Not a lot of the twangy.
You're talking
country.
like Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Kind of the more. I guess if you look at the Eagles and 38 Special and Leonard Skinner, that'd be my kind of country, because that's kind of the country that I like that's today, where I think back then those guys today would be considered country.
Little Southern California feel to that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I asked that question to Brad Burke, Carroll Police Chief, and he immediately said early 90s rap, Tupac.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, I can't imagine driving down the street with Brad Burke and we're listening to Tupac.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? That's just crazy. I
don't know if that's more shocking than Jimmy Buffett dying, but it's close.
Everybody kind of went, really? When I told them that. So, where's the ultimate vacation spot? You've been a lot of places. Where do you? I mean, you go tropical a lot.
Yeah, we spend a couple weeks every year in St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I love that. That's one. We've kind of been bouncing around to some other places, like second vacations during the year, trying to find a place that maybe is easier to get to. Mm-hmm. St. John's a long day.
It's a hard place to get to.
It takes some time, and so. It's something that would be a little closer. We got a granddaughter now, so that long, if we're going to go somewhere for a month here, like in the February, like a lot of people do.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to be that far away. So, we kind of might do some shorter vacations and get back. But we were in Florida this year. It's Siesta Key, Florida. We were at this year, and I really like that. A little more laid back. I'm not a resort guy. I'm not a cruise ship guy. I want to eat at a local place and see that type of thing.
That was my next question. You guys go resorts, or you go like, let me rent an Airbnb somewhere and let's experience it.
I'm a condo and a car anywhere we're at, and let's just explore the place and see what we can find.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a little deeper here. Give me some pivotal moments in your life.
Pivotal moments.
How about you got to break that up almost like when you're a young kid. What was a pivotal moment that you learned a huge lesson?
Well, my parents divorced early, and so my dad had a number of ladies in the house. So we spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and I know my grandpa would probably be the one that I would say is one of the most inspirational people for me. And he kind of helped me through a lot of just everything in life that you go through when you're young and trying to figure it out. And he kind of had that hard-edged. But yet, you didn't realize it was hard-edged till now. I look back and I'm like, gosh, he was kind of a jerk. but that. So I think I don't know if there was ever an actual pivotal time during that time. But I just my fondest memories are of days with him where he was just teaching me something, whether it be a life lesson or just how to fix something.
But it's interesting you mentioned he wasn't warm and fuzzy.
No,
just
not
doesn't sound
super.
like it.
No, not super. No. And I was annoying as hell to him because I was always just this, always joking around, and he really didn't have time for that.
He's the young kid, the younger generation that doesn't know anything.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The same thing we say about the generation now.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So how about like later after high school when you're just starting out your career? Was there anybody pivotal, or any moment that you kind of stands out saying, "Wow, that was a light bulb moment"?
Yeah, there probably are. This is. You should have sent me some of these questions. This is a good one. I could have thought about.
See, I got a whole page, and I literally haven't asked you any of these hardly.
I think, high school and after high school, there was about a 10-year period where we were old enough that we weren't just little kids. That again, Drew Hodges probably was one of the. I mean, there was just always life lessons there, and always fun, and always. Like, he was the biggest picture guy that I ever met in my entire life. Like, how can tomorrow be better than today type person, And so I think that really, I don't know if it was pivotal or changed anything, but I just remember I always felt better when I was around him no matter what was going on. And so that was, even today we try and surround ourselves with people that are good for us. I think that's a good thing, not a lot of drama. And I think I learned a lot of that from him. And I know when you kind of get past that time of trying to impress people, trying to be something that you're not, and you really taking who you are and understanding that and accepting that. I mean, he was one that really taught me how to do that. So, and that, again, just surrounding yourself with people, that was one of those moments that I remember thinking, I'm going to be better because of him and try and do things differently because of him.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that your mantra, just to surround yourself with good people?
Surround yourself with good people. Drama sucks. Like, get rid of that, and just, you should that. I mean, there's times that you're surrounded in a group of people, whether it be at a business event or at a family thing or something, and you think, why am I wasting my time with this?
Yeah.
This is this is not who
I would rather
am.
be anywhere else
but here. I'd rather go to work. That's how bad it is. But yeah.
Hey, you own your own business. I mean, you shouldn't be feeling like that.
Fixed that too, didn't I?
Yeah. All right, so we're going to enter the speed question round here.
Okay.
This is our last bit of questions here. So, do you want to live to be 100?
No.
Okay. Do you believe in ghosts?
Ghosts, yes.
Oh, you say we're going to add something to the 100 question.
Yeah, 100. That seems like a long time. Yeah, I don't know. If you're healthy, I suppose maybe, but boy, you see a lot of people when they get about 85, 90 that it just isn't much fun anymore. So I want to live until I'm not active anymore. How's that?
There you go. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, there's something else out there.
Favorite subject in school?
Lunch. I was really good at lunch. Ted Edwards' American History class, I was so good at that, I took it 3 times, so I'm really good at that. Those are probably my two favorites.
Teddy Eddie.
He was great.
I don't know him, but I know him from his son, of course, who
Tyler.
coached.
Yeah,
Tyler
absolutely.
Edwards and all that stuff. So
I just saw Tyler a couple weeks ago
Did you?
at the AD convention down in Iowa City. He's working for a company.
he's another guy.
He's a character.
Ball of energy.
Yeah.
What's the last TV show you binged?
Geez. This is on Darlis. This isn't on me. There's this crazy show called 6 Feet Under that's been on Netflix. That's kind of what we're in the middle of right now, but it's so weird, and she just makes me keep watching it. And I could happily read a book during this one. I'm not really into it, but
You're checked out half the
yeah,
time.
a little bit. But it's just awkward and weird enough, and she's got this really strange sense of humor, so she loves it. But we really were into all the Taylor Sheridan stuff, the Mary of Kingston and Yellowstone and Tulsa King. Yeah, all that stuff was really fun to watch. So
Yeah, Yellowstone, I was all in.
yeah, and I like
after that, it kind of fell apart the 5th season.
It did, yeah, and I don't know, but one of the cool things about TV now is you don't have to wait till next week, and you don't have to sit through commercials. Like they drop 10 episodes, and then suddenly you wasted your whole Saturday.
Yeah, well, Iowa weather in the spring, it's not
That's
so bad.
true. Yeah, exactly.
Got any tattoos?
No, terrified of
one?
needles. No,
Are ya?
Gosh, no, I'm terrified of needles.
Wow. I got my first one.
What'd you get?
I got a bike tattoo
Oh, very cool.
on my shoulder.
Nice.
I'll show it to you sometime, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to take
That's
my
it.
shirt
Yeah,
off
this
in the
is-
middle of Reds.
This is an audio broadcast, maybe for the visual one.
Yeah. So no tattoos. That's
no tats.
Okay.
Yeah.
No parrots. No nothing.
No, nothing. No,
Wow.
no. A lot of good ideas, maybe.
So
for
you're
him, but
afraid
I'm
of
terrified.
needles. What else are you afraid of?
That's about it. Needles and my wife finding out something. And does anything specific? I would like not to go into, but there's
Last question. Who's your hero?
my hero. I don't know that I really have a hero. I've got a lot of people that I've looked up to and a lot of mentors that have gotten me through and into better places. But an actual hero, I'd say, we go back to the 2. I'd say Drew Hodges was one of my heroes forever, and I still appreciate and love everything he did for me. And my grandpa, I think, would be my 2 heroes. But I think that's probably my best answer on that.
Had a smile on his face the whole time we were talking, man. Jim Jensen. Thanks, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Yeah, great having you on the podcast. This is Must Know People. Again, Jim Jensen, who runs Trophies Plus, lives in Lake View on the city council, and just way too overly busy most of the time. So we appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, John.